Today on This Week in Startups, we've got Kevin Hartz, the CEO of EventBrite. We also have another caller who's going to give us a 60-second pitch in the Shark Tank. And special guest Sean Percival is going to read the news. All that and more right now on This Week in Startups.
That's what it's all about, man. They said money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you. Yeah. Money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you.
Thanks for joining us again. It's episode number 92, my God, and we're just pulling out all the stops. We got every week a better guest. Today on the program, we're going to have CEO of EventBrite, which is this extraordinary business. I hear 9 figures in tickets are going through this system. I don't know if that's true or not, but there's a lot of rumors going around that this company is just on fire. And Kevin Hartz is a great CEO, and also I think he was at PayPal for a while, angel investing. He's been around the block. There's a lot of things we can learn from him. And we've got Shark Tank as well, and Sean Percival is going to read the news. We're going to rotate every week, some different person. We'll read the news, actually twice a week. And we had, wow, what a great event with Tony Hsieh last night. Yep. Bonus episode. I don't know if they published that yet, but we had a bonus episode. And what else is going on? Launch conference will be launching, and the launch newsletter will be launching perhaps tomorrow, maybe Monday. And I'm going to respond to the whole Arrington thing briefly, probably tomorrow on my newsletter or next week. And by respond, I mean I'm going to say, I think we have a good claim, and we hope to resolve it amicably, and perhaps even in private, which is basically my statement. And I think the claim speaks for itself. Moving on, one thing that speaks for itself is the efficiency and the wonder and the beauty of Mailchimp. Look at that beautiful Mailchimp logo behind Tyler. God, I love Mailchimp. I'm using Mailchimp for the Jason Nation newsletter. When you read my thoughts on, hey, can you have a startup and have a kid, that went out to 22,000 people with Mailchimp flawlessly, and gets into everybody's email box. My delivery rate skyrocketed when I started using Mailchimp. And boy, do I love this product, and do I love this company. If you have under 1,000 subscribers, it's free. So I mean, if that's most people's list.
500. No?
No, it's 1,000 now. So yeah, I mean, they're basically saying we're going to take all the market share. We have the best product, and if we have to give away a lot of accounts to people for free, hey, if it's under 1,000, it's free, and you should totally try it for the next time you're inviting people to something, or you've got some sort of newsletter, because you can see who opened it, who clicked on what links. And you can do really interesting things like time delivery, based on geography. So the people in New York get it at 9 a.m., in Japan and in Moscow and in London, they all get it at 9 a.m. Kind of interesting things.
They got the right balance of good features but simple.
I would say it's a very simple system to use. However, the frustrating thing for me about Mailchimp is that I find out they have some feature after I've sent like 3 or 4 newsletters.
Right,
and I'm like, wait, I could do that? I could segment the list?
Right.
I could send one message to my Twitter follower. I can send a message to just people who follow me on Twitter. What? It's incredible. Or I know which members are on Flickr, and so I could send an email just to my Flickr members and say, hey, follow me on Flickr.
Wow.
Or I could send to my Twitter, people who have their Twitter accounts in the system, say, hey, I notice you are a member of Jason Nation and you're on Twitter, link here. Or I noticed that you're on the West Coast of the United States. I'm going to be speaking at this event. Why don't you come by? And I find out about those features after I've already sent something. So, I mean, my frustration with it is, like many great products, like SmugMug, I have the same frustration. So many great features, and I need to go to like Mailchimp school for a day and just learn all the features. I wish they had that. Maybe they do. They've grown from 85,000 users to 450,000 in just 1 year, a testament to how awesome their product is. Another product that I feel this way about is EventBrite, which I have been using EventBrite now for 4 years. I think the company's maybe 4 or 5 years old. And I started using it for the first TechCrunch 50 event, which was TechCrunch 40.
Right.
And it was a dream in terms of, oh my God, we don't have to go get our payment account, like a merchant account. Right. We don't have to make a database. It just all flows nice and easily. They print the tickets for you, and the product has gotten more and more robust. And I've learned to really appreciate the CEO and founder, who I think is an excellent entrepreneur, as I said before, who we can all learn a lot from. Kevin Hartz, are you there?
Hi, Jason. Thanks for having me.
Okay. I think Kevin's there. Can you hear him in the chat room? Let's check one more. This is, the standard Skype check. One more time, Kevin, are you there?
Hi, Jason.
Okay, I can hear Kevin. Can people in the chat room hear him okay? Let me just make sure of that. Very quiet. It's a little low, guys. Can we check one more time?
You know what? I'll get up closer. How's this? Any better?
That's much better, yeah. I guess you're on an open mic. But the fidelity is not bad, and you look crystal clear. Is that a real brick wall behind you, Kevin?
That's our office, and we're just giving you a taste of San Francisco. We're in a brick warehouse here in South of Market.
Excellent. So, I'm a huge fan of the product. I've been using it now for 3 or 4 years. How long has the company existed, and why did you start it?
Well, we started back in 2006, and we had just always felt that ticketing registration is really broken. You just don't see a lot of areas of innovation in ticketing. It's one of those, we call it kind of the last bastion of e-commerce that really hasn't been addressed properly. And we've really focused around product and engineering of building just a product that people love, that our customers love, that our attendees love, and that's been our formula for success since 2006.
And so, 200 million in ticket sales now. Is that number correct? And what is that, per year or per month or total ticket sales?
Well, we measure what we call gross ticket sales, and that is all the tickets that our customers sell, and it's similar to what eBay uses in terms of gross merchandise value, or PayPal uses total payments volume, TPV. You've got to have a clever 3-letter acronym, and we use gross ticket sales. And in 2010, this year, we'll round the year up with over $200 million in ticket sales. And we like to measure that. I think it's very important because we like to see our customers successful. We want to see all the conferences and shows and different events selling a lot. And that's how we make money then, is we take a small cut of that.
And what is the cut? Is it a sliding scale, like 3, 4, 5% or something?
Yeah, it depends if you're using PayPal or if you're using our own credit card processing through EventBrite, but it's in that range.
And so, just to sort of get wonky for a second here, you don't need to become a merchant if you're selling tickets to an event. I mean, this is one of the big innovations. I know when I was doing the Silicon Valley Reporter events in the late 90s, we had to become a merchant. We had to process all this stuff. It was a real pain in the neck to become an American Express, a Visa merchant, and manage all that stuff. Anybody can come to your site and then start immediately selling tickets with all those major credit cards, correct?
That's correct. We really think about friction-free commerce, and we just want to make it super easy for anyone to publish an event. If you think about the olden days, I mean, if you think about kind of the history of Silicon Valley, it was always a solution that only reached the largest, most well-financed organizations, and ticketing is like that. You've got to be you've got to be the Giants ballpark, or you've got to be a big organization to manage ticketing. And what we're doing that is we're bringing that to everyone, and we're making it super easy to sign up. You can start selling tickets in minutes, either through PayPal, through Google Checkout, through our own credit card processing, or if you do have a merchant account, you can hook that into our system as well.
And how many people are at the company now? I mean, I know you did this monster round with Sequoia, DAG, and a whole bunch of folks, $20 million round. How many people are at the company, and exactly how big is this business going to get next year?
Yeah, thanks. Our third investor, by the way, was Tenaya Capital. And we're at close to 80 employees now, and the business is tracking nicely. We're really hiring in the product and engineering side. We're really here comes, I guess, the plug, of course, for we're hiring, but certainly beefing up product and engineering, marketing, customer service.
And who is the competition for this? I mean, you're not. Are people who have a small venue saying, I'm not going to use Ticketmaster anymore, I'm going to use EventBrite? Or is this, hey, there's a bunch of conferences or special interest groups or people having a house party or something like that and saying, hey, this is easier than having people send us checks?
Jason, it's really an enablement market at this point. It's a lot of people that would have to have this built or outsourced to a consulting firm and build it themselves. It's people that have a certain skill, say they teach Photoshop or want to teach yoga or hold a conference of some sorts, and now can really do that readily through EventBrite. We are seeing ourselves moving upstream and starting to see some of the players, the ticket web and so on, but it's really the enablement audience that this new audience we're reaching.
Now, you've been an angel investor for a little while, and I'm not sure if you're currently active or not, but what have been some of your angel investments, and are you currently angel investing as well?
Well, I have, and angel investing for me has always been really an intellectual exercise. It's an exercise for me to learn, and that's what I think when you talk about the culture at EventBrite, we love to be challenged, we love to learn, and really angel investing has always been a way for me to meet and work with other very bright entrepreneurs. So yes, I get to invest in some very interesting companies, but I also learn so much and really share practices. Some investments in the past. Was an investor in PayPal. More recently, Airbnb is a company I'm a huge fan of, right around the corner, and love learning from that young team out of Y Combinator. And also Lookout is another company around the corner. I'm on the board of directors there. It's a mobile security startup addressing the Android market. And again, it's really exciting to be involved in other companies for the learning that I get out of it. These days, I've been less active just as I've got to focus more on EventBrite.
Also, TripIt and Yammer, I believe, and even Friendster you invested in back in the day.
Yes, Friendster, that was a little bit of a painful experience, but very exciting to see social networking in the early days.
Why did Friendster fail?
Friendster failed. I think you can expound on this for a long time. I think that first I think a lot of it had to do with the elements of building the right team, and they had a lot of technical and scaling problems going into place. I think also that the viral growth wasn't controlled and in the right manner, and you saw a non-U.S. audience grow up, which is an interesting market, but not as interesting as first conquering the United States and really learning there, whereas Facebook was done in more of a closed environment of the universities and was able to groom the audience. So yeah, I think there was a myriad of different issues, but in the end, Facebook is really a long-standing company that has an amazing team, and they prevailed.
Yeah. Speed, stability, you brought up there. I know that EventBrite, we've never had a problem with, pretty bulletproof, and you worked on co-founded Zoom before that. How important is it, and you hear this debate in the entrepreneurial circles, like, hey, don't worry if your site goes down, eBay went down a lot, Twitter went down a lot, they're still amazing services. But then you hear other people saying, hey, you have to have perfect service, fast. Google is, so great because they're so fast. People, trust PayPal because they never go down. Which is it?
Well, it's the latter. It's the notion of a dial tone when you, I guess that's kind of old school these days because nobody really has a landline anymore. But you pick up the phone in the old days and you expect there to be a dial tone, and that's just something that has to happen. And with in our businesses, especially in ticketing, you've got to have that super reliability. I think that if somebody has a sort of laissez-faire attitude that, it's okay if the site goes down, now and then I just question the sense of urgency of the entrepreneurs or the culture of the company that we're always fighting to make sure, and we never want to have those things go wrong, and that's reflected in the culture of the company. Other
advice for young startups, we get a lot of them watching the program. What are the key things to you that you focus on, top 2 or 3 things when starting a new company? What are those, things that you feel like, God, I got to get these things perfectly right before I ask people to invest in this company, before I decide I'm going to go all in with it? What are your top 3 things?
Well, Jason, first, I'd just say really get make sure you have the right founding team and a good partner. I'm a big believer in Paul Graham's notion that really starting a company by yourself is very, very difficult, and having at least one other co-founder and somebody you can bounce ideas off and support you through the tough times is a critical piece. Getting the right product market fit before raising money. You don't want to find yourself shifting models. Inevitably, it happens a lot of times, but you don't want to get caught overfunded or with a lot of capital and finding out that this product just isn't quite for the market. I think also really the third piece is relevant to the times that we're in right now, and that is that I feel we're entering into a new bubble. The pendulum is swinging the other direction, and capital is easier to come by these days. So we all need to just keep our wits about us in terms of really thinking about how to be frugal, build a sustainable company, and not get too carried away with the relative ease it is to raise money these days.
So somebody might say a cynic. You're talking about being maybe conservative in a bubble-type environment, but you just pulled down $20 million, and I've heard EventBrite is already profitable. So what does your own behavior tell us? Are you believing that should we take from your $20 million raise with a company that's either profitable or close to profitability, or could be profitable if it wants to? Why would you raise that money? You think there's a bubble that's, if you say there is a bubble, do you think that it's going to burst?
Well, at some point will swing the other direction. I mean, I would anticipate, unless there is some terrorist action or crazy occurrence, that we've got a few years of runway. But really, what happens in the upswings of economies are the salaries rise. I see the competition happening now. I see candidates coming out of companies and the salaries being bid up. And you don't want to create you don't want to create a company with the wrong what should we say kind of spending base. If you overspend and build the wrong kind of architecture during the good times, when times get tough, and they inevitably will, and that's the nature of capitalism, and I don't know if that's near term or long term, you're going to really struggle. And I'm in this just to build a long term company. Mea culpa on the funding. We did to a certain extent see the macroeconomic signs and did pull that money down. But we're also thinking about really building a long-term sustainable company. We're thinking about how we alter ticketing over the next 5 years, not in the next 12 months.
So what I'm getting from what you're saying is control costs. As a company, imagine you're living in leaner times and maybe don't have unlimited funding sources, and build a business that is in fact sustainable in terms of the balance sheet and what you can charge for the service. However, as an entrepreneur, in a frothy time, in a bubbly time, maybe you should fund yourself up. Maybe you should take a little bit of money and put it away so that you can take the long view. I mean, that is the reason to pull down this money. It's a great market to raise money, and then you have the ammunition and dry powder to fight the long 5-year war. Is that correct?
Love how you articulated that. We shouldn't fool ourselves as entrepreneurs. We should certainly move with the market, and it's a great opportunity and a great time for entrepreneurs. But let's keep our wits about us and really focus on building our businesses.
Is building a company in Silicon Valley today, especially for a person who's experienced like yourself, is that the optimal thing to do? I mean, the salaries have gotten out of control in most people's opinion in terms of developers. You have Google and Facebook fighting over developers with hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I'm not taking anything away from anybody who earns their paycheck. I've gotten paid well in my career, but does it make sense to, if you're an experienced entrepreneur, to do it in the Valley and have, I don't know, double the salaries or 50% more? Is the Valley becoming unsustainable itself as a place to launch a company?
That's a really good question. It's there's so many benefits, but there's so many downsides as well. I mean, the benefits is that all the infrastructure here, the funders are here, and so on. But the downside is that yes, you've got so much more competition, And Jason, I just want to check if I'm still connected here.
Yeah, I mean, we can hear you. We had a little bit of fritzing on the audio, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to read a commercial. While I read the commercial, we're going to disconnect from you and then reconnect and see if we can get a better connection on the Skype. So why don't I just say goodbye to you for 1 second, ask the crew, maybe we could restart that, and then I'm going to tell everybody about an amazing company, just as amazing as Mailchimp, just as amazing as EventBrite, DNA Mail, everybody
Loves DNA Mail.
That's right, Tyler. Everybody loves DNA Mail, and I love them for being with me for 92 consecutive shows. These guys have been my greatest supporter, and oh boy, am I excited about the fact that they have been. And they will help you succeed in your business by moving your mail to the cloud. You can get Google Apps or Microsoft Exchange hosted at their service. And guess what? You know, I don't want to say anything bad about Gmail, but it's been a little bit of a rough ride right now. Maybe you need some, consider Microsoft Exchange or hosting with DNA Mail, because they have free activation, free setup, 24-hour support right here from Los Angeles with people who care and who speak English as their primary language. I mean, you can't discount that. Sometimes I call customer support, and this isn't being xenophobic, but you know, sometimes a person just doesn't relate to me. And if they're in another country, you know, I would rather talk to somebody here. 99.9% uptime guarantee. And boy, are they a great company. Don't let your business suffer from subpar communication. Sign up today and take advantage of their 30-day free trial. DNA Mail, everybody loves DNA Mail. Go ahead and say thank you at DNA Mail for supporting This Week in Startups. Thank you for supporting independent media. Thank you for, you know, every week allowing two different entrepreneurs to tell their story, up-and-coming entrepreneurs to pitch on the Shark Tank, Lon to read the news. Oh, Lon's not with us anymore. Anyway, to talk about the news, This Week in Startups is booming with over 100,000 downloads. Every episode you get this free content, and the reason you do is because of DNA Mail. It is your Geary, it is your duty to thank them on Twitter. Thank you at DNA Mail.
We could do a tweet drive.
A tweet drive.
You know what I mean? Like, instead of like we have people standing by for calls, you know, send in your contribution.
I tell you what, right now live on the program,
Yeah.
somebody tweets thank you at DNA Mail and at Mailchimp for sponsoring This Week in Startups, and I'll pick one of those people and give them a free ticket to the launch conference. How about that? February 23rd and 24th.
It's kind of like the those phone call drives where, you know, we've got a Kindle here. We're gonna give it away to anyone who donates over $50.
All right, let's see if we got Kevin back. Kevin, are you there?
Hi, Jason. How's this?
Perfect. Just a little bit closer to the microphone, and we should be fine. You've been around the Valley for a long time, and you've met with a lot of entrepreneurs. Who are the entrepreneurs that you look up to, that you take notes from?
Well, one I'll say in particular is actually a board member of ours, two board members of ours, Sean Moriarty, first of all, who is actually the ex-CEO of Ticketmaster. He's been a fantastic mentor. I think that you would say, oh, he's the head of Ticketmaster. Must have been a real tough guy, but he's actually just one of the most intellectual, one of the most thoughtful, and really cares about building teams. I'm a huge fan of Roelof, also on our board of directors. He came out of PayPal and really embodies that PayPal spirit. Learned quite a bit from him. I guess the list goes on. Jeremy Stoppelman has done a fantastic job. He's
of Yelp.
To ours
Yelp
over at Yelp.
Yeah. And so how do you construct a board? I mean, there's a lot of young entrepreneurs listening to the program, some Y Combinator folks. They don't even, I think, in some cases, know what the purpose of a board is. And in fact, I know, I was 2 or 3 companies in before I started to even think about what is the purpose of the board and why do I have these people here and how do I leverage them? What do you think board members exist for? Why does a company need to have them? What do you see them as the purpose from your perspective as a founder CEO?
I would say almost a contrarian attitude as an entrepreneur towards boards. Like, I find them incredibly helpful. And it all starts when we started EventBrite. We thought about being very open and finding great talent, whether it's full-time or whether it's advising or on the board. And so we reached out very early on to find great people to be involved as advisors and so on. A board to me is a great sounding board itself to to really keep you in check. I think oftentimes a mistake made is that entrepreneurs won't build up a strong board, and as a result, they're never really challenged. And I love to get great company operators involved, build out a strong board that's going to challenge me and challenge our team in every board meeting.
And so you actually look to it as not an annoyance, not a necessity, not some people to meddle, which is what you hear from a lot of entrepreneurs. Oh my God, my board's meddling. You know, I'm spending my time managing my board, not managing my business. You're actually looking for them in a way like a coach and a sounding board. From what I'm hearing, you like them to push you maybe and to challenge you on issues. Is that typical for entrepreneurs, and did you always think that way? Or in your earlier companies, did you look at them and say, oh my God, these guys I got to manage these guys, they're meddling?
Well, when it comes down to it, the board is the founders and CEO is responsible for building the board. So if they turn out to be meddling, it was really a reflection of a bad choice that the entrepreneur or the CEO has made. I like to look at the boards as, when we think about adding a board member, as the magic wand theory is if you could wave a magic wand and have anyone appear on your board, who would that be? And that's how we've built things here.
So you said, I'm building a ticket business. Boy, would it be great to have is Sean was he the founder or just the CEO of Ticketmaster?
Sean was the CEO of Ticketmaster.
Yeah. So you said, hey, I'm building a ticket company. I should have the founder, the CEO of Ticketmaster. And then how do you go from magic wand to actually having the guy show up for board meetings 5-6 times a year? Did you just email him? Did you ask somebody for an introduction? How do you go about landing a high-profile board member like that?
Well, it's really building a relationship. I was introduced to him, met with him, and again, I think we have all our biases about larger companies, and he was just a phenomenal brain and phenomenal company operator, and somebody I wanted to have involved and wanted to seek out his advice. And I think that's the biggest litmus test. And from that, it just became a series of informal conversations over a relatively long period of time, a few months, that then it just became a really natural relationship.
So you get an introduction, and then you start bonding with the guy, sharing your feelings and your mission and your vision. And then eventually, it's got to become brass tacks. You just say, hey, I want you on the board, and here's what I'm willing to offer you, and I'm going to give you this much stock or this much money. One of the questions in the chat room right now from S-Glad was, how much do you pay a board? Do they get paid? How does that work? How does the offer process? Because sometimes that's uncomfortable, right? This is a guy who's obviously very successful, probably very rich. He doesn't need your money. He doesn't need your stock options, probably. How do you get them to actually say, I'm going to risk being on your board? Because there is a little bit of liability.
That's right. In board members of private Silicon Valley companies are not paid in cash. Investors are not compensated for their board role. They're investors in the company and have a stake and then a say from that. But an outside independent board member like Sean Moriarty, there is you make a stock grant just as you would an employee, and it has a vesting schedule. Typically, and this is from my own experience of serving on other boards and where I've served as an independent member, it's ranges 50 basis points to 1%, sometimes perhaps more, with a 2 or 4 year vesting schedule, and typically no cliff is what I've seen from experience.
So just to recap that, get one of these high profile board members, get an introduction, get them inspired, and then up to a point in the company, 1%, which a company like EventBrite, which will clearly become $1 billion company in my mind. I don't think Kevin's going to just come out and say that. He's a pretty humble guy, but I will tell you this is $1 billion company. 1% is $10 million, and 50 basis points. When somebody says 50 basis points, they mean
0.5%.
0.5%. So 25 basis points is 25% of 1 point. Some people, they hear that basis points thing, and they go, what does that mean? And the cliff would be, they don't have to, like a normal employee, get to 12 months to invest their stock. You say, hey, I understand you're a pretty high-profile person. You can start investing monthly. And they get that 50 basis points, 1% over 2 to 4 years of service. What are the mistakes, Kevin, you made early that you have changed?
Well, I would say with my previous experiences that in what we've really thought about here at EventBrite is hiring not just based on raw intelligence and diligence, but also cultural fit. So really, how well does the team gel and work together? And I think in previous experiences and experiences I've seen out there where you have some really super strong teams in terms of individuals, you'll often have conflicts. So, and that's where Julia Hartz, co-founder, who also happens to be my wife, has really worked with us on building the right culture here at EventBrite, and it really shows. Like we just have, I get goosebumps when I walk in the office, and we're all in one big room together. Julia and I sit out in the middle of the room and just love the people here.
I mean, and for somebody like you, a successful entrepreneur who's done well enough that they don't have to go to work every day, that's kind of critical, right? I mean, you want to come to a place every day that you love and that is filled with people that you enjoy working with. I mean, you can't discount the importance of that, can you?
You're right on. It's, startups can be stressful, and we want to do great things. We really want to go out there and in our case, change ticketing, but we want to do it with people we enjoy being around and that share our passion.
The decision to go into business with your wife, easy decision? Is it difficult at times? What happens if you guys disagree about something fundamentally? Who wins?
Jason, she's right next to me, so I'm gonna
be careful. Yeah,
I'm gonna blink Morse code. It's kind of like help, get me out of here. Julie, it's what we did is we found mentors. Just as that notion we talked about reaching out and finding people that inspire you or really that have done it well before. In our case, it was Michael and Sochi Birch, who were the founders of Bebo. And they grew a company from zero to sale to AOL for over $800 million. And their advice was divide and conquer. And so Julie and I, we've been very involved. And by the way, our third co-founder is Renaud, our CTO of the company. Can't leave him out, very third critical member here. But we really divided our tasks. And also we always had an exit plan. Most couples don't work well, and it's same with same with brothers, same with father-son teams or mother-daughter teams or anything else. You don't want to destroy your relationship. First and foremost, you want to keep that intact. So you do need to have an exit plan early on. But we were lucky to be one of those few couples that we've gelled well together, and it's been a wonderful experience.
How do you deal with the fraud issue? And this has come up in the chat room here a couple of times. Anybody can set up an account. Anybody can sell tickets to something. What happens if I set up an account and I sell tickets to something and the event doesn't occur? Who's on the hook for that? EventBrite, the person who set it up?
Well, that's EventBrite is on the hook for that. And in fact, we're under fire and under fraud attacks entirely. And it's part of the reason that there is no simple self-service solution out there except for EventBrite. And this really comes back to the PayPal DNA. Why PayPal, on the appearance, PayPal would be a very simple service. You send and receive money, you hook up your bank account, you hook up your credit cards, and the money goes back and forth. But the reality is that there's very sophisticated fraudsters from all around the world continually hitting the system, and building that infrastructure and back end was a lot of, and still is a lot of PayPal secret sauce. And we did that at Zoom, a company I started in the international money transfer area, and we've also rebuilt that experience, and we've got a wonderful fraud analytics team at work on that, which is a lot of PhDs in math and just focused on detecting those bad guys, but not holding up the good guys.
What percentage fraud in your mind is acceptable in part of the business? You just say to yourself, hey, 1% of fraud, if we're making 4 or 5% on average, or 6%, we're going to eat, or 0.5%. Do you look at it that way philosophically?
Yeah, that's exactly the right way to look at it. Is like a payments business. So in the case of PayPal, they publish their fraud rates, and in their case, it's 20 basis points. So that's a 1/5%. and that's really a cost of good. So you're trying to make sure your margins are strong, and what typically happens is you either do two things: you make it impossible, you get the fraud rate down to zero, but you've also stopped all the good customers and you don't sell as much. Or on the converse side is that fraud runs rampant and you lose all your profits. And we have to build that silver bullet system to stop those fraudsters.
I mean, in some ways, that's like when you go to a Starbucks and they're just like, yeah, give us your credit card, we're going to swipe it, you don't even have to sign it. Because, hey, we're not going to go through this whole thing of rigmarole of seeing your driver's license and signing it, because if it turns out to be fraud, we lost $3 or $4 worth of Starbucks, which really cost us 30, 40 cents. But if you're doing electronics and you're buying something, for a $3,000 camera, hey, they're going to ask for your driver's license, they're going to check your signature, and they're going to want to look at that security code. I mean, is that the sort of, the how difficult we make it versus how much fraud we want to deal with that you deal with, Kevin?
That's exactly right, and Peter Thiel spoke a lot about that trade-off. He reflects when reflecting on PayPal. It's that PayPal made it so simple to sign up, whereas competitors to PayPal didn't make it, because they would do things like ask for your social security number, ask for your 6 extended family members' maiden names, and just make a very onerous process that nobody could really complete, or was so inconvenient. And that really is the magic balance of fraud and really not hurting your good customers, which tend to be 99% of the base.
Let's take some questions from the audience. Kevin, if you just have a couple of moments, we'll close up with 2 questions from the audience. Tyler, what questions do we have?
One interesting one, and this occurred to me as well early on, curious what his thoughts on Square and how that might play into ticketing.
That's a great question.
Or payment, how the future of payment and ticketing work together.
Is something like Square a competitor to you guys? I mean, I'm going to sit out in front of the launch conference of the TechCrunch 50 conference with my iPhone and start taking people's credit cards and swiping them right there. Is that a competitor?
Well, we love the Square folks. Jack Dorsey and now Keith Rabois. I've done a lot of angel investing in Keith. I've known Keith for a long time. And Keith has joined the business as general manager. Keith's actually an investor in EventBrite. And we've been in what I like about Square is that they're opening it up and they're building a payments in a great API. And so we would endeavor to integrate with Square so that while we would handle pre-sales, people buying tickets ahead of time at the door, Square would be a great option to transact.
Does that option exist yet, or are you saying that's something you're sort of working on?
We're working on, and you'll see a lot of great things, of course, coming out of EventBrite, but you'll see a lot of great things coming out of Square.
Yeah, I'm pretty bullish on that as well. Jack's pretty brilliant. Yeah. Final question, Tyler.
Yeah. What was it about? This wasn't. There were people who had tried this before EventBrite, right?
I think there have been.
TicketWeb, and everyone who thought, what about someone's got to take on the online of ticketing of Ticketmaster? What was it about EventBrite's secret sauce?
What do you attribute the success in a place where other people have failed?
Well, 2 things. There's always timing. So if anyone's read the kind of great book on original startups and culture, it's called, I think, Startup by Jerry Kaplan, and it was written in the early 90s, and it was the first, it was kind of one of the first attempts at handheld computing, and then you had the Newton from Apple, and then you had the Palm, and then finally the iPhone. So first is that certain technological changes and things need to be in place. For example, U2 needed broadband and flash. In the case of EventBrite, it's really social. So what really is driving our businesses now is the #1 source of traffic is Facebook, and that's because people find out about events through their friends, or if it's a business event, through their colleagues on LinkedIn or Facebook as well. So there's that the timing is right. I'd also say that it really, we've got a lot on our shoulders right now, and we've really focused on team building and execution, and we're in this for the long term, and we hope that we're that company to finally break through here. But we're just getting started, to be honest.
Kevin, continued success. Thank you for being on the program. As you know, I am a fan and a 4-year customer of the product and love it. I've had nothing but great experiences. I give it my highest rating, 4 stars out of 4 Bulldogs out of 4 Bulldogs, and continued success to you and your team.
Thank you so much, Jason. Really appreciate being on the show here.
Thanks for taking the time. I love the brick background. Good job, Kevin. We'll see you soon. Cheers. Great guest.
Yeah.
Highly successful and so honest. You know, like, and this is when you look at the guests we have on the program. What are the things that make a successful guest on This Week in Startups in your mind?
Well, first thing that comes to mind with guys like him, and it seems to come up more often than you would think, is a sort of modest, you know, just head down, working hard approach to it.
Yeah, there's a certain humility to the successful people we've had on the programs.
And you can tell they're committed to solving this problem, and they're very focused.
Yeah.
Living it, breathing, you know, just.
Yeah, I mean, it's if you're all over the place and you're high on your own supply, probably not a good thing. But it's great to see an entrepreneur who's been successful multiple times, who's willing to say, hey, here's how I landed that board member, and here is what we're trying to achieve. And here's the honest reason why we pulled down $20 million. You know, everybody likes, there's a bunch of bloggers out there, there's tech blogs, and, you know, all kinds of people who hate and who criticize, oh my God, why'd you raise $20 million? Why'd you do that? You know, and it's like, hey, listen, you know, the honest reason is because you can. And because it's a savvy thing for an entrepreneur to do. Anytime I hear that, you know, some knucklehead criticizing, oh my God, why did they raise all this venture capital? Hey, they're going for $1 billion business. Who cares if they raise 20 million or 50 million or 100 million and spend it? That's why that money exists in the economy. And that's a small fraction of the money that somebody who is a limited partner has. They're only putting 1% of their money. So if there's some $100 billion endowment, they put $1 billion into Sequoia or other, you know, DAG Ventures or whatever it is, to go invest it. It's there to swing for the fences. Don't worry about it. I mean, people get so worried about raising millions of dollars and deploying it. That's why those people are grown-up investors who want that money deployed in high-risk, high-reward situations.
Interesting that it was social, the timing of social, that allowed for online ticketing to sort of flourish.
It is, and you know what else is flourishing? No, there's no. I don't have. I just wanted to throw that segue in there. Let's do a Shark Tank. Matt is on the line. Matt, are you there?
Yeah. What's up, Jason?
How you doing? Where you calling from?
I'm calling from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
Calling from, is that PA? Is Pennsylvania PA?
Yep.
Calling from the PA. What do they call it down there? It's not like the 718 or the 212 or Chi-Town. What is there a slang term for Pennsylvania?
No, I go with the PA.
The PA? So you're rocking the PA. Long-time listener, or are you new to the program?
Big fan. Been watching for a while.
What was your first episode? When did you first tune in?
I first came in once you guys got the whole This Weekend site up, right around J.R. Johnson, so a few months ago.
You have a favorite? You have a favorite episode so far? How many of the 92 episodes have you watched?
I've watched probably 20 episodes or so. I really liked Dave the other night. I thought he was great. Dave McClure.
Oh, Dave McClure was awesome. Totally honest, and you know, hey, we're getting basically now. This is the hot ticket. I mean, people are. We say, hey, we want you on the program. Would you join us? And people say, of course, I'd love to. I'll Skype in, I'll call in, no problem. You know the rules of Shark Tank. You have 60 seconds to impress the hell out of the audience in the chat room, and then they're going to score you brutally on, well, let's say brutally honest. I mean, nobody here is to beat up on the entrepreneurs. It's not like the Shark Tank on television. This is Jason's Shark Tank. We want to support you, and the way we're going to support you is by telling you, number 1, on a scale of 1 to 10, how is your pitch? And then number 2, on a scale of 1 to 10, how good is your idea? And this is, you know, in the estimation of the people in the chat room and myself and Tyler. Are you ready to go, Matt?
I'm ready.
All right, Matt from the PA, you're on in 3, 2, go.
Our mission at Bellyella is to bring great designer maternity clothes to expectant mothers at amazing prices. Now, Jason, I'm sure you can relate to this since you and your wife just had a daughter. But check this out. My fiance is 5 months pregnant, and we dropped over $1,000 to get her set up with maternity wear, none of which was high quality or designer brands. Our options were pretty much either spend that money or hit up the local consignment shops in search of something from this decade that you would actually want to wear. Now, you and I both know it is totally worth it to make sure that she is happy, comfortable, and feeling great about the way she looks, but there's got to be a better way. This is where Belly Ella comes in. Our subscription-based service lets women rent a designer maternity wardrobe from us at a fraction of the retail price. Under our subscription plan, she can exchange her rented clothes for different ones as she grows, or if she just wants to mix things up a bit. Belly Ella allows her to get a variety of designer brands she wants without spending a fortune on clothes she's only going to wear for a few months. Thank you.
Wow, there you go. 57 seconds in. Very clear. Belly Ella. How do you spell it? That's the first thing I want to know.
Belliella.
Belly Ella, which we get. People have a belly and when they're pregnant. And this is for you to rent some number of maternity pieces during your pregnancy. What a great idea. We went through this ourselves. Women, oh my God, I'm getting fat. There's a lot of body issues. And it's just, you're busy when you're pregnant, you're tired. And God, you know, like imagine if you're a guy and all of a sudden I told you, Tyler, you're like a waif. I mean, you're like some supermodel. You weigh about 90 pounds wet. I mean, what if you all of a sudden weighed 150 pounds or whatever, 50 pounds more, and you couldn't fit into any of your wardrobe? What do you do? I mean, it's just frustrating. My wife getting out of the house, oh my God, I've got nothing to wear, and we have to go to this other person's christening or this dinner party. Very frustrating. This rental model could work. Obviously, some concerns about, is that icky to rent clothes? But you know what? Women are renting dresses now. This is becoming a big business. I just went to a wedding overseas, and it was like a black tie kind of affair. I had to buy a tux. And my wife was like considering actually renting like a $4,000 dress for $300 instead of buying a $1,000 dress. I mean, it definitely is giving people options, and women seem to be into this concept. So I give the pitch, which was very clear, an 8. I give the idea, it's very niche-y, somewhere around a 7.5. Tyler, what are your thoughts?
What it reminds me of, it sort of seems like cupcakes and carrot sticks.
Okay, so this idea, Belly Ella,
yes,
reminds Tyler of cupcakes, the dessert, and carrot sticks,
yes,
the healthy snack.
yes.
How so, Tyler?
Because there's an element of when you ask somebody, Jason, you know, 3 weeks from now, I'm going to come to you with a snack.
Okay.
What would you like that snack to be? Carrot sticks or a cupcake?
You know, I got to drop some pounds. I'm taking the carrot sticks.
You're going to take carrot sticks.
I'm going to take the carrot sticks. I know where I'm at. I'm not getting enough vitamins. I need to get healthy.
Funny you should say that. You ask everybody this question. They say, oh, 3 weeks from now, I need to get a little healthy. I think I'll take the carrot sticks.
Sure.
But in fact, if you walk up to people with both in real time,
I'm taking the cupcake.
You're taking the cupcake.
I want that. I want that vanilla with the frosting, and I'll take the peanut butter and jelly cupcake every time.
What is it about people who, when they think what they want, is always different than what, in fact, they actually end up really wanting at that moment? So I think this is one of those things that needs that sort of research. Like, yeah, people might think they want that, but you really need to test to make sure they want that.
Yeah. So
and this is true for a lot of ideas.
Yeah. Well, any cutting edge idea, you have to figure out if you are filling an unmet need in the marketplace, or you are creating a product that nobody needs but that you think they need.
But you can't just go by their word of it, because they're going to be wrong.
You have to actually provide it.
You have to literally provide it.
And see.
And say, like, I have this service, and wait and see if there's uptake.
This is why people who do things do better in life than people who think about things. What did you give it on a pitch?
The pitch is great. Came in under time, very clear, succinct. Could have added a little more spice and
panache,
a little more emotion to it.
Sure.
It actually did really quite well with it. I would give the pitch 8.5.
Okay, so you'd be a little generous there.
Idea, I honestly don't know until we figure out if it's a carrot or a cupcake.
Jump ball.
So, yes.
Yeah, we don't know. In the audience, I saw a lot of 6s and 5s and 7s and 7s, 6s and 7s. I think what you're dealing with here, Matt, is, as Tyler is appropriately telling you, who the hell knows if this could work? It's like that whole renting of the handbag subscription thing.
Yeah, this could be huge. This could be huge.
The renting of dresses thing is getting huge, I think. I mean, listen, Groupon, nobody knew if that would be huge.
Right.
Netflix, People said, my God, that's the stupidest thing ever. I'm going to wait in the mail? Why would I wait in the mail when I could just go to Blockbuster down the street and get the movie I want right now?
Right.
And all of a sudden people, there's like, I don't know, there's millions of people who subscribe to Netflix and love it. So, Matt, what did you think of the feedback? Any response?
Great feedback. I was really happy to get insight from Tyler. Always happy to see one of those.
Yeah, I mean, and they don't come along every day anymore.
Yeah. But that's great to hear. And what we are trying to do is, since my fiance is pregnant, we are hitting up all the ladies at our classes and our prenatal yoga and trying to do basically a small private launch and see if women that we can talk to face to face are interested in actually going through the program. So hopefully that'll provide us a little bit of feedback before we make any huge investments.
There's a great partnership to be had with Stockbroker here. I mean, stockbrokers. I mean, they really, since they're going to be helping people swap out their toys and stuff afterwards. I mean, this is like sort of before you have the baby. Great job. Appreciate you being on the program. Let's get Sean Percival in here for the news. We should make a graphic that just says, now the news with question mark. Sean, thanks for being on the program.
Thank you. It's good
Everybody
to be here.
knows Sean Percival worked at Mahalo for about 17 minutes.
I survived.
Survived?
Somehow.
Did I make you cry?
You never made me cry.
And it's something you regret.
You made me think. I like to
Well,
say.
that's good.
Yeah.
But, hey, it's not over. You're still in the building. You can still cry by the end of this episode.
It's true. It could happen.
Now working at MySpace.
I'm now at MySpace. I'm the VP of Online Marketing over there.
Big deal.
Huge deal.
And the launch seems to be doing pretty well. It looks beautiful.
It's doing really well. Honestly, we're saying like the launch is going too well. The press is too positive. Now expectations are very high. So everyone's killing themselves to make sure we deliver.
Got it. It looks a lot better. I'll say that.
Sure.
I logged in for the first time and whatever.
Okay.
And started playing with it and go, wow, this is actually looking. And it does. You know what? I thought you guys would just photocopy Facebook.
Yeah.
You didn't.
We didn't.
You're
We
like,
really tried
hey,
not
let's
to.
go with a new, like, it's like sort of like a savvy media look.
Yeah.
But cleaner than the madness that sort of made MySpace unique at the time and ultimately frustrating for some people. Let's do the news.
Great. To start off with, Mark Andreessen. Obviously, we all know him of
Yep.
Netscape fame and the original .com boost and boom. So they just raised another $650 million.
Wow.
In total, now they have $1 billion in their fund, which is huge. A lot of rumors already, maybe $100 million is going to go into Twitter right away. I guess the big question I have for you, though, is there's all this talk about the angels and the Uber angels, and then traditional VC is dead. Like, do we still need these huge funds in our space?
There is obviously, it's a good question. There's obviously a lot of money out there. And if you build anything with any kind of traction and a good management team in a big space, you're going to get, essentially, as Kevin was saying, anybody can raise money. I mean, there's an angel bubble right now. We've seen in the past year valuations at the Open Angel Forum started earlier this year in the $1 to $3 million range. The last couple of months, we have Open Angel Forum in Seattle next week on Wednesday and San Francisco. Everything is 3 to 6. I mean, it literally, you'd say doubled, right, Tyler? So obviously there's an angel bubble, there's a venture bubble, there's a lot of capital out there. What I like about Mark Andreessen's fund, Andreessen Horowitz, and his partner is a key part of it, is that they are round and stage agnostic, which means they're more than willing to put $100,000 into This Week In. They haven't, but hey, it could happen. They're totally fine with putting $1 million into part of an A round, $3 million in doing the complete A round, or putting $50 or $100 million into a Twitter or a Skype. They don't care. And I think this is pretty savvy because companies are growing so quickly now that the amount of time between when you identify how good that company is and they have $1 billion in revenue is 36 months or something. I mean, Groupon went from a cold start to $1 billion in revenue in 4 years or something. Well, maybe you add a year because of maybe it was 3 years and you add a year because of the first company, the pivot. Twitter, obviously, boom, very quick. These companies grow up very quickly and get to scale quickly. So you can't say, oh, I'm DAG Ventures, I only do later stage, or I'm, Ron Conway Fund, I only do early stage. You have to be stage agnostic, and you want to bet on the best thing. So, hey, great for entrepreneurs, more money, less problems. Tyler?
Okay. What else can you say?
Yeah.
Other than awesome to have more people like Mark Andreessen getting in the game to...
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys know him? Have you talked to him before? I assume maybe you've met him.
Yeah, I've met him for a long time. Actually, he was going to become, when we sold Weblogs Inc., Jeff Bezos and Mark Andreessen were going to put money into, we're going to do sort of almost an A round, like $1 million round with Jeff Bezos and Mark Andreessen and a couple of other people, and then the AOL deal happened. But that was when he was just sort of walking around the eTech conference, and he's like, oh, hey, I like your blogs, and it's just like, oh yeah, you're Mark Andreessen, the guy who did, it wasn't like he was as big as he is,
Sure.
Now he's just on the board of HP. I mean, he's a massive player. I see him 2 or 3 times a year. I wouldn't say we're friends, we know each other, and I see him at the Allen & Company conference and stuff like that. But he's very accessible, and he loves entrepreneurs. But he's getting very busy. I mean, being on the board of HP, and I mean, he, the Skype deal. I mean, he's really moved up the food chain. I don't know how he can focus on angel stuff in the way a Ron Conway or a Chris Sacca can.
Sure.
So I mean, he's got the success of Andreessen Horowitz is going to be based largely on his ability to get into smaller deals, I think.
You're going to have a certain faction of really smart, early stage stuff that would kill to work with him.
They would, but can he? How many meetings can a person take a week? I meet with 5, 10 startups a week, or take a pitch from them. That's 1 a day or something. This guy is on the board of HP. He's dealing with major, multi-billion-dollar issues on the daily. I don't think he can be meeting with 10 startups a day. Like I think Ron Conway said he meets with 20 companies a week, 25. Roloff both at Sequoia told me he meets with 12 companies a week. It's an hour each. I mean, there's only so many hours in a day, and so I think that's going to be their main problem. But I do think that they're going to skim the cream, and when they see winners, whether it's a Groupon or a Twitter or a Skype, they're going to be bold and say we're going to put that money in, and then you have a self-fulfilling prophecy. Mark Andreessen's involved. Other people are going to get involved because he has massive credibility. Then people with massive credibility are going to come to him, and the sort of flywheel gets going. Credibility builds, exits. Next story.
So next we have Twitter. They're testing their in-stream ads finally. Now they're not doing it on their native platform. They're using Hootsuite, which is a friend of This Weekend. We've had him on a few shows. Great product. It's very much like CoTweet. You can put in multiple accounts. You can schedule. You can do all these things. Canadian-based company, I believe. Now, I guess the big question on this, though, is Twitter, it seems like they're having all this rocky relationships with third parties. Here it seems like they're embracing the third party. They're working with them. I'm wondering, though, do you get the feeling they're just kind of using them because they don't want to mucky up their native site first?
I think there might be something to that. Also, I think it's probably easier to do it on the client side, where the client probably says, pull the 10 tweets and hit the API for the ads and put this in the middle, as opposed to the web and what Twitter's doing. It might be harder on a technical basis. So they might have just gone with what's technically easier. But obviously, I've been predicting this for a long time, and it will work in a major way. Already, I mean, I'll do a search for something, and I see an ad there, and it doesn't feel like an ad.
Feels good.
And it's in the stream. The same way Google ads, text ads, AdSense doesn't feel like an ad when you're doing a search. Sponsored tweets don't feel like an ad because people are writing them authentically, and they're coming from A-list brands. I mean, if they launch this with teeth not whitening places and lower my bill.
Aki Berry type crap.
And really bad, Aki Berry, whatever the hell that is, or lose weight, or diets and whatever. I mean, there's all those ad units now that don't look like ad units on the New York Post and these other places. And you can't tell they're ads, and they're like beautiful photos with, that look like stories. If they started doing that kind of nonsense, it would not be successful. But right now, I mean, they've got the entire industry on tweet. I think they're getting $100,000 a day to be a sponsored tweet.
I heard it's anywhere between 80 and 100, but
All right, well, call it 100.
It's great.
Don't get me wrong, but I think that's $3 million a month. That's $36 million a year, and I heard it's sold out. So if it's sold out, then it's going to become an auction. If there's only one sponsored tweet or two sponsored tweets, and what's going to happen after that? It's going to be, hey, sponsored tweets in Japan, sponsored tweets in China and the U.S., all different prices. Tyler, your thoughts?
I think it's kind of genius. Like, test it out on one of them. The only downside to that is you kind of irk the others, but then at the same time, the others are thinking, oh, well, this is how we're going to start making money. So there's a definite positive indication that the platforms have a new... what the split's going to be, I have no idea, but...
Google has a way of doing this.
If I was a platform and I wasn't even picked, I'd still be excited because here comes the money finally.
Absolutely. And on Google, they will show less ads on searches, but if you use their ad units, you don't get to control how many ads. So the truth is, they show more ads on their partner sites and less ads on their own site. Just over time, giving people the impression that Google's more generous and their partners are less generous.
Google as well, though, was pulling in addition to Hootsuite, the ad-like stream units. The Twitter ones,
yeah,
this week, yeah.
Google is bringing
That
in the
part-
promoted tweets now as well.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. It's the first time anyone's
Google
ever...
is indexing the promoted tweets.
Yeah,
Yes.
they're actually putting it at the top of their new real-time search product, which is the
Wow.
first time
Yeah.
they've allowed another advertiser to put
Right.
inventory into the system.
I think
It's
that the
interesting.
reason they're doing that is because they want to buy Twitter.
Probably.
So that's just a little olive branch. That would be my gaming of it.
That makes sense.
They're trying to be as supportive as possible of Google in order to convince Ev to sell a second company to them, as opposed to selling it to Microsoft. And
Yeah.
I don't think they're selling. I think they're going to go public.
I think so too. Next story. Let's talk about Bleeko. It kind of sounds like a weird kid's toy.
Is it Blacko or Bleeko?
Bleeko? Am I getting that wrong? Who knows?
I don't know.
It's hard to say. I saw that you wished them well on Twitter.
Yeah.
I was interested. Okay, so the company was founded in 2007, which I thought was interesting. They've been in stealth for 3
Same
years.
time as Mahalo.
That's also as well.
Yeah.
And they got roughly the same amount of money, about $20 million in
Right.
funding. They just launched this week. It's an interesting product. Do you feel that there's a future there, or is this kind of like a power user 1% site?
That's a good question. I think that they have, number one, obviously 3 years to get a product that is a long time.
Yeah.
It shows how challenging the search space is, and it shows how much money you have to put into it. I'm fairly certain they're probably spending $5 or $6 million a year, so they've probably spent
Yeah.
10, $15 million to get where they are today. And is it enough that somebody's going to switch search engines? No.
Yeah.
And
We know that.
I know that because I had the same experience
tried.
with Mahalo.
Yeah.
You know, you can make search results 10, 20, perhaps even 30% better than Google, and guess what? Nobody cares.
Yep.
And so it's a sort of a shallow victory, which is why Mahalo, you know, which always intended to be search and content, we push the content a lot more because, hey, getting indexed in Google is a lot easier
Yep.
than trying to fight Google. That being said, I think it's one of these technology plays where maybe Facebook wants to launch a search engine at some point, and they say, hey, here's what do they call the talent acquisitions now?
Acquire to hire?
Yeah, something like that. Acquire to hire.
Yeah.
So they maybe they get to 25 really good engineers, and Facebook says, you know what? Let's give them $50 million, and we'll make them our internal, search team.
Yep.
That's what I think is going to happen because it is a smart group of people, and they have an interesting idea, which is vertical search.
Yep. Some elements of
However,
curation as well. Yeah.
a little bit of curation, like, hey, we're going to take out. I think they take out demand media. Somebody told me they take out Mahalo.
Oh, really? Oh.
Which, see, this is where it really becomes a problem. Does Mahalo have some pages that are lower quality? Yes, and it has had some in the past.
Yeah.
And we've basically said we're going to de-index our pages under 300 words, so the best ones get indexed. That actually worked really well in terms of focusing PageRank.
Yep.
However, if you paint with a wide brush like that and say, I'm going to take out demand, I'm going to take out Mahalo, then what happens is the pages we have that are awesome, like how to play guitar chords, or whatever, how to cook pumpkin seeds, that have had thousands of dollars invested in them now over the last couple of years with the videos and the content, you paint it with a wide brush and you actually remove the best page on the internet. It's very hard to know what is a quality page versus a quality site. Sites have variable quality, and that's where I think that this sort of idea breaks down a little bit. But I wish them well, and anybody who can innovate a little bit can get rewarded a lot, as we've seen with Vark, with PowerSet. I mean, these are companies that were under 3 or 4 years old that got bought for $50 and $100 million. My guess, they're going to get bought for $25 to $50 million in the next year or two.
Cool.
But what happened to the other one that was going to change the world? Wolfram Alpha?
Wolfram Alpha.
Yeah.
What happened to that? I mean, they probably don't have over 1 million users a month.
Probably not.
So I'm a little tired of the whole, oh my God, there's all these smart, cool is the other one,
Cool, yep,
whatever.
Cool, yep.
You know what?
They all
The
have weird
streets are
names,
littered
yeah.
with people who are going to, take down Google.
Yep.
And I have to say, I think our approach of content plus search results is the winning thing that Google itself will get to, and Bing is already sort of getting to. So whether it's a shallow victory, we'll find out, right?
Yeah.
Any thoughts, Tyler?
I'm looking at the site. I'm definitely rooting for them. Like you said, love the idea of people innovating in search.
Yeah.
Way rooting for them. Having said that, this is only the second time I've been to the site. I saw the video, and I remember watching the promo video thinking, this is cool. I'm rooting for you guys. And I think of myself as a savvy kind of internet user, more than my mom and your average internet user. And I'm confused as hell looking at the site in terms of the slash paradigm and what it is used for.
The slash tag, I think they're calling it.
I think
it's
it
not
could be-
immediately clear, and
Right. It
I'm
could
not
be
seeing
very
a huge value over
right.
Google results. Maybe I need to delve into it bigger.
It could be incredibly powerful, and I hope it is, and I hope it's so refined that there isn't an education hump needed to learn it. My fear is that people won't take the time to learn the curve of how to use a site.
And here it is. So I agree. People, I mean, it's hard enough to get people to put a second word in or a third word in. And I just typed in how to play guitar, and Mahalo is not in there. And it's funny because we do have the best page, you know, and eHow's nowhere in there. So they basically are making these sort of sweeping things like, oh, we'll take out eHow and Mahalo, and everything will be okay, associated content. Well, in some cases, yes, and in some cases, no. So remains to be seen. Last story.
There's a lot to be said for simplicity in the whole search paradigm thing. That Google always had that part right. They consistently make it simple, like this. The new instant thing is.
I'm going to agree. Let's do the last story.
Yeah, let's close it on Adeo. You guys know him with Funded,
Adeo
Founders
Rissi.
Institute.
Yeah, very good friend of mine for many years.
Saw a great post on him. I've met him as well. Really love the guy. He feels most entrepreneurs don't know how to pitch, and I think that's probably an accurate statement. Would you
Correct.
say that?
Yeah.
And so what he's developed, it's almost like Mad Libs for an entrepreneur. I wish we had it on the screen, but I'll try and read it, and hopefully it kind of comes through here. Maybe you can pull it up there.
Yep.
Essentially, he's developed fill in the blank for your company, and it kind of goes like this. My company, insert your company name, is developing, and then define your offering to help define your audience, solve a problem, define your problem, with fill in the blank, your secret sauce. Quick, right to the point. What do you feel about this? Is this a great framework for a pitch? Do you have any other recommendations for that that crucial elevator pitch? And you can see it there on Jason's screen.
Yeah.
Pull that up.
I think it's a nice test for people, like, hey, my company blank is developing blank to help blank solve a problem with the secret sauce. That's a good start as the test, but I don't know how the iPhone fits into that. I mean, my company, Apple, is developing a smartphone to help people. I mean, everyone.
Cell phone users? Yeah.
Now, solve what problem? Solve many problems with many different applications due to our excellent design. I mean, it sounds bad. It sounds like a bad pitch. So I just made the iPhone sound bad.
Yeah.
Let's put another company in there. My company, Facebook, is developing a social network to help everyone stay in touch with each other with a social graph.
Graph, yeah.
It's true. The
I mean, it doesn't make sense.
Twitter.
I mean, can you say it better?
Even worse. Yeah.
Twitter. Yeah. My company, Twitter.
There's no problem with Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My company. What about Groupon? Let's do Groupon.
Okay, you do it.
Yeah. My company, Groupon, is developing a coupon system to help a frugal audience save money.
Yeah. Who are you helping in that case? The customer or the retailer?
Crowdsourcing.
Right. I would do
deals.
it. You could do it from the customer perspective. For the store perspective. My company, Groupon, is developing a marketplace to help small businesses get more customers with a website. I mean, there's no secret sauce.
It's almost a test that the worse it comes off on this, the more potentially big it could be.
It actually could be that, right?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, actually, if you did it like, my company, Niche Bleco, is developing a vertical search engine to help, naive search users to get better search results with our, algorithm and vertical search. I mean, it sort of actually works better for Bleco. Yeah. You're right. I mean,
or the, mom maternity thing and the lifestyle businesses. This works great.
It might work better for a lifestyle. My company, Belly Magic,
Belly
Ella is developing a subscription service to help pregnant women. Yeah. It's sort of redundant. To help pregnant, to expecting moms to afford to rent
to find
maternity clothing and save money. Our secret sauce is our ability to rent.
Find deals.
Ship
stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing I like is it's much better than saying like, it's Groupon meets Dogster, like those type of comparisons, which I do see a lot of.
His premise is right, though, is entrepreneurs need to boil down and deliver what they're doing and for who in the right order.
Yeah. I like our approach a little bit better from the TechCrunch 50 shows and everything, and from this show with the Shark Tank. Of
the story format tends to capture people's imagination.
I like that. Like, you define a problem, define a market, define your solution, and let people, ask you follow-up questions. So, I don't know. It's hard to do it in a sentence. I mean, Mahalo is a site that allows people to learn anything. Done. How do we do that? With content on the web, And our secret sauce is we make a lot of content. Anyway, thanks to DNA Mail. Thanks, Mailchimp. Thanks, Sean Percival.
Thank you.
People can find you on the web at Percival?
At Percival on Twitter, or just Google Sean Percival?
Did we run out of time? Because we missed over the Google, Facebook thing that popped up today.
Oh, no, popped up today. Yeah. Google is not allowing Facebook to
use the Gmail importing contact.
And of course they should. It's awesome. I think it's awesome they're standing up to them. So what this basically means is if you log into Facebook and say, I want to find my friends, you cannot do it on Gmail. Yahoo should block them. Everybody should block them. Twitter should block them because Facebook won't allow the opposite. I mean, when's the last time you logged into Twitter and said, find my Facebook friends and pull out their email addresses and everything? You can't, right? I mean,
Yeah,
well, they basically told Apple, like, you can't.
Yeah, but that doesn't let you download your social graph.
It's true. I don't know what you would do with that data beyond that. I mean, you could save the photos, but I know what you're saying. It's not allowing you to port the people over.
Yeah, I mean, so so Facebook is really good at doing sort of the superficial thing and sort of, oh no, we're very open. I mean, we're open, but now Google's like, not exactly open. Hey, thanks to New Tech for providing us with the TriCaster, which allows us to do this. Great service, and they have that 8-port HD one that I want to get. So if you're listening, New Tech, get me one of those. And hey, Storm on Demand. Thank you for hosting 23 files a week that get downloaded millions of times and being our CDN and our hosting service and putting up with all of this amazing bandwidth that we're hogging up with all the great shows on This Week In.
The Drobo.
The Drobo's been great too. Thank you to the Drobo people. I have a bunch of those Drobos. We'll see you next time on This Week in Startups.
That's what it's all about, man. They said money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you. Yeah. Money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat